In the bustling city of Ibadan, where yellow buses honk endlessly and the smell of roasted plantain, suya, and palm oil fills the air, there lived a young lady named Moroun, but everyone called her Moroun. Moroun was only 22, yet life had already shown her the bitter side of its kola nut. Her parents had passed away when she was just 16, her father from a sudden sickness, her mother from the heartbreak of losing him months later. Since then, she carried the burden of survival on her own slim shoulders. To feed herself and keep a roof over her head, Moroun set up a small stand on the roadside near Dogby Market. Every morning, before the first cock crowed, she would rise, fetch firewood, and set up her small roasting pit. By sunrise, the sweet smell of roasted corn, slightly charred and sprinkled with coconut or pear, filled the air around her store. Children loved her corn, bus conductors chewed it as they shouted, "Sebo," "Challenge," "Gate," "Ring Road," and even tired office workers stopped to buy from her before heading home. Though she smiled with each sale, deep inside, Moroun carried a loneliness that only God and the wind in Ibadan's ancient brown roofs understood. Still, she held on to one thing her late mother had always said. "Omo me, kindness is never wasted. Even when life is hard, give your best smile. You never know who is watching." One hot afternoon, when the sun blazed mercilessly and sweat trickled down everyone's back, a black SUV, polished like obsidian, slowed to a stop near her stand. Such cars rarely stopped at roadside stalls. The tinted window slid down, and a man's voice, deep but gentle, spoke. "Good afternoon, young lady. Can I get some corn?" Moroun, surprised but composed, picked the fattest, juiciest corn and wrapped it neatly. The man, dressed in a crisp white agbada with gold embroidery, stepped out. He had an aura of quiet wealth, his shoes shone like mirrors, and even his wristwatch caught the sunlight like a diamond. He looked at Moroun closely, not with the arrogance of the rich, but with curiosity. "You roasted this yourself?" he asked. "Yes, sir," she replied shyly, handing him the corn. "It is fresh. You will enjoy it." He bit into it and nodded approvingly. "Delicious." "How much?" Moroun hesitated. For rich men like this, 10 naira was nothing. But she answered honestly, 200 naira, sir." The man smiled and reached into his pocket. He brought out not 100, not 1,000, but a crisp 10,000 naira note. He handed it to her. Moroun's eyes widened. "Oh. Sir, I don't have change." "Keep it," the man said softly. "And tomorrow, I will come back." Before she could protest, he stepped back into his SUV and drove away, leaving Moroun staring at the note like it was a golden ticket from heaven. True to his word, the mysterious man returned the next day. And the day after. And the day after that. But each time, he didn't just buy corn, he asked Moroun about her life. Slowly, she told him her story, how she had lost her parents, how she struggled to pay rent, how she dreamed of going back to school but had no means. She thought he would pity her, but instead, he listened with respect. One evening, after buying his corn, he said, "Moroun, would you allow me to help you? Not because of pity, but because I see strength and honesty in you." Moroun blinked, confused. "Sir, I don't understand." He smiled. "My name is Chief Oledimeji Adinka. I own several businesses here in Ibadan and Lagos. But money is not everything. What matters is using wealth to lift others. You deserve more than a roadside store." Within weeks, Chief Adinka changed Moroun's life. He paid off her rent, moved her into a decent apartment, and enrolled her in business school. He even helped her expand her roasting business into a proper eatery, Moroun's Delight, where roasted corn, plantain, and yam were served with modern flair. At first, Moroun feared it was a dream that would vanish when she woke up. But day by day, the reality sank in. Customers who once bought a single cob of corn now sat in a clean restaurant, eating full plates. Her income grew, and soon she began to employ other young women who, like her, had been struggling. She never forgot her roots. Moroun still roasted corn herself once in a while, just to remind herself where she had come from. And every time she saw a poor child passing by, she would hand them a free cob with a smile, repeating her mother's words, "Kindness is never wasted." 2 years later, Ibadan was buzzing with excitement. Moroun was awarded the Young Entrepreneur of the Year. At the ceremony, with cameras flashing and journalists scribbling, she stood beside Chief Adinka, who had become like a father to her. When she was asked to give a speech, she said with tears in her eyes, "I was just a corn seller on the streets of Ibadan. But one man believed in me. Today, I am not only standing here for myself but for every young person who thinks poverty is the end. If God could lift me from ashes, He can do it for anyone." The crowd erupted with applause.